Yes.
So yeah, it ain't bad whatsoever. Spirit. So now they're probably drafting an offlaner here, I would imagine. You don't want to get super hard countered immediately.
Or you could draft like a flex, right? Like you could run like a CK, for example, and then that flex between the two.
Yeah, CK's still in the pool.
The only problem with the CK is that some Western European teams don't really consider this, but in China, for example, they consider DK one of the hardest counters to CK because of the breathe fire, because it just reduces your damage by so much. And you have to, I mean, it seems like a dumb counter, but it is a big deal, and it depends on if they want to play it against them.
Tiny, wow, I can't believe, he wasn't even contested in game 1, actually. there's the Necro. That's the Hawk, guys, by the way.
the immediate as well. They also, the Hawk was probably like, guys, it's easy. I got it. This is Necro game. It's guaranteed. Necro against Clockwork and Storm is usually not the best pick, but I would suppose as carry, you tank up enough, it doesn't matter as much. Necro against Tiny obviously is a great core-to-core matchup because it's the hard counter of Tiny, so that's pretty good. And it is a pretty good Necro game because you cover him with Pugna, which means you have double the Crep, right, for the Necro, which you don't really have a good nullifier hero on TeamSpirit. The Grimstroke and DK is great because they can act as like a front line here. The combination of like Inkswell plus a Dragon Tail. I like this. It's good. You also have double Reaper Scythe as well.
Dude, these stats, sorry, because I looked at these Necro games and I went, I don't know if he's actually going to play versus Spirit. But now that I'm looking at his Dota buff, my man here, the Hawk, has 20 games on Necrophos with an 80% win rate. in professional games. I mean, he's mostly played it before, like in 2017, especially, and he's barely just brought it back. But he did beat both Gambit and one more team in DTCL with this hero.
Wait, do you know if it was AS Monaco Gambit or just Gambit?
It just says Gambit.
Who knows? Is it Gambit 2 Electric Boogaloo? Is it AS Monaco Gambit? Did Gambit pick up a new stack and they not tell us yet? I don't know.
The Melojewel, Pantomime, Seiyu, Afterlife, so like a real team.
Oh, okay. No, that was Gambit. That was Gambit. That's Gambit 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Okay.
TeamSpirit, we'll see what their offlaner pick is going to be. They could just also rotate them the Tiny to the offlane. With Okado is actually not that bad a lane and pick a different carry. That's always an option here. We'll see. For now, they protected obviously the best offlaners against Necro, which is Batrider and Viper. Even if Batrider is not a common offlaner, it just destroys Necro, so it's worth considering. I honestly might... I don't know. But is it worth putting a new carry just to get a good matchup against Necro?
No, Faceless Void. No, they're going to go Night Stalker, actually.
That's
so
a very good pick.
They will persist with the hard lane.
Or a hard lane, but it's a really good... I mean, hard lane, I guess, into light them, right? But it's a really good counter against Necro and Pugna in the mid game, so that's solid. And kind of a nuisance to the DK, because now you depend on Dragon Form to Dragon Tail, at least the Night Stalker, right? If he's running at you and you literally are melee, you can't stun him. So it's a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah. The Soulbind might be a little bit annoying for a Night Stalker. If he ever gets bound to enemy heroes, he's going to hate that. But that just relies on good positioning, and I think that's something that TeamSpirits excel at a lot of things, but I would say that's certainly one of Collab's strong points. So I don't imagine that's ever going to be too relevant, but you never know. A Storm makes an aggressive zip, ends up getting Soulbound to the Night Stalker. Oh no, things get difficult from there.
I think you counter the Storm now and made as much as you can, so something along the lines of co-op is nice, right? A bit of damage. I'm going to mention it because I know Lara plays this. SF is in the pool. He's a big fan of the hero, does destroy Storm in lane, and actually has a good matchup against Tiny. Some teams are starting to pick it back up again, but it's very weird. That said, if there's a team that's going to bring a weird pick, that's BB, right? If you allow Necrophos and Visage and everything,
I think like these kinds of like Linas, SFs, co-op a little bit better, of course.
co-op is best.
Are a little bit scary against a clock, right? Because then you give them like a really good target in the fights throughout the entire game, even not just fights, right? From the laning stage through early fights, through mid-game fights, through late-game fights. And that's not something I'd really want to do. Right now, Clock doesn't have an excellent target. He's just decent all around.
Okay, they go for the Lush.
Okay.
That was my other option. The Quap or Lesh are again, I've mentioned that weird pick because it's nice, but it's Quap or Lesh that are the Storm counters left in the pool. You want to beat his lane. Lesh doesn't destroy him in the early lane. It's more about what he does afterwards when the Storm rotates, takes your tower, right? And Lesh is kind of free-ish this game. Like, Clock can go for a Blade Mail and it will be a nuisance. In fact, you could go for double Blade Mail on Clock and Night Stalker. It could be a nuisance. But for the most part, it's a pretty good Lesh game. It's not bad. Yeah. Also a Laurel hero as well.
Yeah, it is. He doesn't have the best win rate on it recently. They've been picking him up quite a bit in competitive, yeah. I think I filtered by last month for these stats, and he's played 7 games with a 28% win rate. So not finding a lot of success on it lately, but it is a pretty mean pick this game. Excels versus the Night Stalker, and it's some great push that your team was up until this point not lacking with Noticed, but now it's constantly threatening, right? Now you're not just playing around Elder Dragon form, you're also playing around the uptime of something as common as that Edict. So
yes,
yeah, I kind of like the pick.
You also had Nether Blast, of course, but most position 5 Pugnas, unless you're watching China Div 2, they don't max Nether Blast. They max the Nether Ward or the Decrepify, depending on how the lane goes. And I think this is definitely a lane when if you max... This is a game where you max Nether Blast, I would report you. This is a 100% Nether Ward game. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's also a Vessel game here probably for DeHawk, and that is within his wheelhouse. Last time he had a Vessel at 6 minutes. So... You know,
I feel like we just do a whole show, and we just did the Hawk show. We just figure out what he's figured out this patch.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He again, this was versus it's seemingly a bit of a weaker team because they did get 2-0'd. But his build was against a similarly tanky team, to be honest. Was Vessel into Lotus, bots, and then Shivas, and then late game stuff, right?
Interesting.
But a very one-sided game. Like he went 14-3 and 15. So I don't know if you're gonna quite find that level of success versus TSpirit. But the Necro pick is looking pretty good here, I'm not going to lie.
Well, it does show it does play tempo, right? Like, he likes to play the tempo, Necro. That's where Night Stalker can be a bit punished. Even though he has, like, really big power specs at night times, he's a bit of a slower offlane, right? Because usually when offlanes get online, it's around minute 10, and that's when your daytime comes in, right? So Night Stalker either something in his first nighttime, which is rare because he's kind of weak there, or, you know, you have to wait till minute 15. Yeah. As we get into the game. It will start at nighttime, though, so Night Stalker will be at least comfortable for a little bit.
Yes, he will. Gets his to use his nighttime vision to his advantage. Actually, one of the few heroes with full vision at nighttime. I believe Slark is also one of them, being from the deep ocean. But this guy has half the daytime vision
Luna,
of most
right?
heroes. I believe Luna. I think Luna's got.
Right?
Yeah, she gets it on the blessing, whatever the lunar blessing.
Lunar blessing. Yeah, we're not carry players. We don't know what that is. All right. I mean, I still think it's very similar to last game, except that BP definitely has a weaker lineup in terms of push, right? Like, not the MP, which is just much more oppressive as a hero. And TSpirit, I would say, has a faster lineup, right? The CK offlane, the advantage of Night Stalker is that even though your tempo is not as fast as, say, I don't know, Mars, for example, it is certainly faster than the CK offlane, less greedy.
Blink BKB and you're ready to go. You're ready to party all game long, basically.
Also, I want to point out Yadaro in his quick buy. I don't know if he's going to go for this, but he has a Hyperstone.
Oh! Tell me about this Hyperstone. Which region is it from?
In China Div 1, I saw this the first time there. Right? I don't know if that was the region that invented it, but that's where I first saw it. They were building Moonshard first on Tiny. Like, just straight up Moonshard. Moonshard Shard, right? It's the Shard build, right? The ultimate Shard build. And it's pretty impactful because essentially what it does is it makes Tiny like a really early pusher and you can join fights much earlier. It's less about like the tiny burst and more about the tiny just sustained damage. And it will be a really good way this game of having to deal with this annoying Necrophos Pugna, which makes it so that like Tiny jumps you don't quite kill someone, all of a sudden they heal back up. Well, if you have sustained damage, it doesn't matter as much, right? Because you survive forever. So it is a good build. I'll see that they do that. It is faster as well than the Echo Saber, Shadow Blade, the Shard build as well.
Yeah, we saw this during the SA tiebreakers, and Hokori's only winning the series, 1-2, of course. They ended up losing that one. But it works when you are winning your lane. You have the luxury of going for this rather expensive item, so you just have to save up 2k gold, you know, at least until you get any kind of benefits compared to Echo Saber, which has nice components. So it's a little bit of a snowballing item, but it certainly can work and has a lot of benefits like you pointed out. So Neko is going to have to eat another full blast, so still taking quite a bit of a damage early on in this lane, but he'll be okay at the end of the day. And lots of magic damage here that Collapse and Mirror are going to have to deal with. Just loads of it here in these early waves versus the Hawk. Mid lane, though, Laurel already off to a fantastic start. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but the wave did end up underneath Toronto Tokyo's tower. Toronto Tokyo didn't really see it coming, and Laurel certainly did with the amount of wards they've committed towards this mid lane. So it's led to an earlier advantage here for Laurel. Nothing too wild.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's not very... Like, the lane doesn't favor less humongously. It's usually after the level 6 that this kind of changes. Or rather, when you get points in Edict. But the more the better the lane goes for Laurel, the more points you can put in Edict without feeling bad, right? So it's a huge deal. Against Storm, there's a lot of lane domination builds because you don't want him to also run you down with a Bolt Lightning once he gets it.
Exactly. And on that note, I'm a little bit surprised to see the Sampler build here for the Lesh. He's gone 1-1-1. I thought we were going to see, like, you know, 2-3 points into Lightning Storm before we even saw the first point in Edict. Not the case here. So
very good, actually.
Yep.
If he can get away with this and they don't punish him for this, very good. Soneko, by the way. Oh. Bottom lane. There's a single point Nether Blast. Always first point Nether Blast, and now with another ward, kind of a nuisance to the Coddle. And to the Night Stalker as well, actually, because Night Stalker, he usually lasts in the early game with a Void, right? He has good stats, so he can get close to the creeps, but the Nether Ward is a bit of a nuisance for him. Especially because the magic resist affects the creeps, and you can actually miss a last with Void because of that, which is stupid.
Yeah, at least it doesn't passively burn his... I mean, he's got a Coddle, I guess, in lane, so it shouldn't be too relevant, but at least it doesn't burn his mana anymore.
That's actually a very good point. If that was the case, Night Stalker would not be able to live in this lane.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Pretty rough. Either way, not ideal for him, to be certain.
Yeah, it's a rough lane because you also, like, Necrophos is probably the best stick user in the game, and Night Stalker is the king of giving stick charges when it comes to offlaners. I feel like you're not going to kill the Hawk at all. The play by Night Stalker is more just survive this lane and then go make plays elsewhere in the map. Probably mid, actually, because Lesh is killable if you rotate a hero or two.
Yeah, and Toronto Tokyo could use a rotation. It's starting to get not too bad, but Laurel with a two-wave advantage at this stage. It might be a couple of side camps, but again, maxing Edict here actually 1-2-1 now for Laurel. So we'll see here if this is going to be useful for some early pushing or whether it thinks he's going to be able to run down the Storm or what. I certainly expected to see at least this 4th skill point put into the Lightning Storm. I'm a little bit surprised. See how it plays out for him. And top lane, the only lane we haven't really mentioned. Here's a lot of stun, a lot of lockdown to be certain, and a decent amount of damage now with that level 2 Inkswell, a lot better than level 1. But again, Yadaro is playing one of the more, how do we say this, OP heroes of the patch, so he just doesn't really care.
Yeah, exactly. that is the tiny thing. I mean, his laning, I can imagine this lane being decent enough to deal with him, right? Like, it's not like this lane is going to be crushed at all. And I also want to notice... I want to see how many points Noticed puts into his Breathe Fire, because I've seen a lot of DKs putting more and more points into Breathe Fire early. I feel like against Tiny, though, you have to be a bit more careful. It is a great skill against Tiny. For the same reason they count CK, it's really good against Tiny because of the base damage that this guy relies on.
Okay, so Soneko's going to scout these stacks, by the way, so they could look to invade perhaps during the first nighttime. Hard to take Ancients this early, but maybe with the build, Lesh can do it. Soneko almost gets the kill onto Mira there.
He dies. Collapse is going to die, and so does Mira. Okay, you're right. He almost gets it. He gets it, and Soneko denies himself. He's done his job. It's time to go back home.
Yeah, I was referring to the cast damage there on Illuminate. He almost died to it due to the Nether Ward, but he got him with the right clicks. That's good enough.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was again, this lane is really difficult. I would not blame TSpirit for feeding this lane. No. They just have to prevent feeding to... They have to keep feeding to the minimum, right? But it's just difficult. Even at nighttime, I don't feel like you have kill potential, at least against this Necrophos. Pugna, though, gotta be careful. And that's why Soneko rotates mid. He's finding himself useful elsewhere. When I casted with Winter, he was telling me that the best thing about Pugna early is actually his movement speed, and we're seeing Soneko take advantage of it.
Yeah, you're a pretty speedy team overall here, Miposhka.
Yes.
Not too slow himself, though, is going to be scouted by Soneko. Not really much Soneko can do to threaten him. And this is a scary push, by the way. Edict level 3.
Yeah, he got away with it. And Nether Blast. Oh, he actually took the 2 points Nether Blast.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Okay, so BetBoom really looking up the ante. I assume as soon as Notice can, he's going to be getting these Elder Dragon forms and just harassing these towers. And I don't know if there's enough early defenders for TSpirit to really stop 2 lanes from being pushed simultaneously.
Yep. It's not it's very common to go for 2 points Nether Blast. Usually afterwards, though, you do point for the Nether Ward. We'll see, though, because honestly, if he goes for a push build, wouldn't be my first choice, but I'd be interested in seeing, like, because the logic checks out with your team.
That could have been a kill, actually. Probably if you Inkswell Pugna, a very speedy boy, could have been a kill on the Miposhka. Maybe they were expecting him to have power cogs, so they didn't even try it. But
it is too high ground as well, right? You don't know what's lurking there. He's speedy, but he's also a boy.
In trouble.
Laurel. He's trying to get the stun, but he didn't get it off. And Diabolic Edict actually is tanked by the Catapult, which allows Toronto Tokyo to survive this.
Top lane, Yadaro. I reckon he's okay. Once again, very balanced hero, very tanky.
Yeah.
And he's gone for a Wraithbound early, which I think is huge in this lane. Getting that little bit of armor for himself, making sure that he's not, at 0 versus a DK is going to help a lot. But here are those 2 points in Breathe Fire you were talking about for Notice.
Nice.
So he's gone
I like that.
for 2 points early in Dragon's Blood, of course the stun early, and then now straight 2 points in the Breathe Fire.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like Breathe Fire is honestly a really good spell. It's also a game where I'm expecting the 30% Breathe Fire damage reduction at level 10. It's a very underrated part of the spell, but I feel like against Tiny especially, and against CK, who are very popular carries this patch, he becomes very valuable. I don't think he's going to be kicked out of this lane, though. I feel like once you get Dragon Form, you probably take the tower. But to see if they can, they're bringing Mira here.
Yeah, exactly. And he is certainly going to be a hero that can stop a push from Notice, who does not want to be tanking tier 1s versus a Tiny and a Storm, who could easily kill them, you know, with a quick little zip. However, BB are also bringing heroes. They notice a lack of heroes down bottom. And there's a great toss back. Notice being body blocked as well with the battery assault. A little bit of move speed here will get him out of dodge. In fact, they're looking to turn and they get the kill on a Miposhka. Yadaro a bit low on mana. Not quite even level 6, so doesn't have the bonus armor yet. Or the damage, I suppose. Is maybe not too keen. There's level 6. Okay, maybe he is keen on sticking around. He can get mana from Mira in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And it seems like they'll hold for now. Storm shoves the wave underneath the mid tier 1. He's gambling on the rune spawning here. It doesn't. It's a haste rune for Dahak. This might be spicy. See what he can do with this. He's heading bottom. I don't know if he can kill Collapse with his current HP. He has saved the skill point for Dark Ascension, so he can just fly over the trees. But Dahak might... Yeah, he's going to give him a bit of a scare, to be certain.
Force Major also won the little warding wards, so they actually lost the sentry here. And Force Major just tried to keep this position defended. He actually ends up denying. Okay, he's like, I don't want to stay here any longer. They're going to just get the free ward. And Pugna actually went for Max Nether Blast. He's taken over the mid lane.
Wow. Okay, so they really are invested in pushing.
Yeah. I feel like this is very punishable, though, by TSpirit. You're giving a lot of free kills to Storm, like this one, where Toki just takes it. And now that Nether Ward, by the way, doesn't stops you from getting this free kill, but Nether Ward makes Pugna play more of save support. I go behind my carry, I save him, rather than this push, which I was expecting a Laurel to do, honestly, not the Pugna.
Yeah, and speaking of move speed and fast heroes, Dahak now certainly up there, 370 move speed with the BOTs now online. Seems like he's interested in going for a Hooded Defiance for himself, as you know, he just needs to gain access to the secret shop to get that ring of health. He is being ganked, though. Maybe Miposhka thinking about it, has the point in cogs, but not quite confident there. Collapse would rather just farm the wave, and they're going to let him leave.
Collapse is just going to try to get as much as he can out of this first night in terms of farm, and then on minute 15
here's
is when
the
he gets
push mid again.
Okay, this is with Lesh and Pugna.
Yeah, they know Laurel's here because he triggered the Nether Ward, so they're easily going to evade that blast, and it seems like, yep, tower will be denied. Not ideal for BB, but, you know, they're happy to get that tower down.
Usually, you don't deny the mid tower, right? It's usually never worth it, but in this game, with Pugna that's max Nether Blast and and a Diabolic Edict maxed Laurel, you gotta let it go, right? It's just not much there. We'll see how much they can do with this push, though, because the tier 1s are certainly gonna fall, but what do they do afterwards? Where's their kill potential? I'm curious.
Yeah.
The Hawk is going for Boots of Travels. He's just trying to scale. We haven't seen what build he's decided to go for on the Necrophos. As we're gonna see Toronto Tokyo doing Witch
They see the Hawk. But they can't quite reach him. Not that zip would be suicide from Toronto Tokyo. Yes, and actually, if you take a look at TSpirit's lineup, not until late game anyway, they don't push very easily. They don't push very well at all. In fact, I'd say they push terribly without Tiny, who is going to spend the majority of this first 20 minutes simply farming. This is a problem. I think they actively need to defend their towers. Otherwise, they're going to lose so much map control because they can't trade towers and open up the map for themselves. They might find themselves fairly squeezed. They're committing to this bottom push, and they will get it. But they're already down one tower here.
You know, I disagree with that because I feel like with DK and Pugna, your push is just so easy, and it's not even a push that's Lone Druid like him where you're actually committing. It's just you throw a spell, you walk back, you throw a spell. So I feel like you can't really defend that even if you wanted to, especially with a Night Stalker. Okay. So I think the best bet they have is really trading towers. They just kind of given up on this.
Well, they'll at least trade for the bottom tier 1, and Mira's here to prevent any lasting damage from the tier 2. I suppose all damage lasts to buildings, but nothing too serious. He gets the last hit, nice. But yeah, Laurel able to take over the jungle. They'll trade jungles for now. Toronto Tokyo looking to get his first item online. It seems like he's a fan of the Witchblade. We'll see how many Null Talismans he builds this time around. So far, 3 is the number. Yeah,
I'm wondering if he did that build because he thinks it's the better build, or if he did that build because he was losing and he thought that's the best build to defend. I don't know. We'll see. For the one problem BB has this game I didn't have last game is that their team fight early is certainly not as broken as it was last game. So because of the Snapfire, right? Lush is not that great team fight compared to Snapfire. So when they go and take your jungle, like the Hawk can play smart like he's doing right now. He's trying to get the jungle creeps and everything by trying to like deviate their position. But you can't really fight TSpirit head on when they invade your jungle. And they can fight you too. And so you don't have the choking pressure they had last game and the really clean execution. It's probably going to come when the Blink Dagger on DK comes up, which is already up actually. It's just coming on the curry. We'll see what they do now.
Super unique item builds, by the way, for Dahak. I mentioned the one game where he built a vessel early. I thought he'd do the same here. In his other game, he went for a completely different item build, which I won't rant out now, but he did, interestingly enough, get a Wind Waker pretty early.
That's interesting.
Yeah, interesting, right? But a completely different item build this game. Yeah, it's quite unique here. Not only does he play some wacky heroes, but he's got varying builds. Oh, so that's unlucky. Miposhka hits the ball lightning, and even the cogs trapped around Tokyo. BetBoom gonna look to turn.
Miposhka's probably going to be killed here. Notice already comes the Blink Dagger. A slow from Ghost Trap. There's the Blink Dagger from Dragon Tail. I don't know if this is the best use of resources for BP. They only get a 5 and they rotated all their cores here, but at least you did get a kill.
Yep, it's a stack for Dahak.
Yeah.
And BP are going to smoke off the back of this as well into the triangle.
Okay, that's a good use of the kill.
A bit slow is Mira here to really break the smoke, but it gets broken eventually. So it doesn't seem like Laurel's going to be able to get anything but an Ancient stack. So not bad. Not bad for this smoke.
Yeah. I think it was Lelis that was telling me that it's not always about what you, like, how many resources you spend, as Mira dies, by the way, with this Stroke of Fate. There we go. I got another support here.
Cliff Notice. Oh, he's got a blink, though.
Oh, wait. Collapse wants to go in. The Dragon Knight is not actually flying, even though it looks like it, so he can't get off that cliff. And the Blink Dagger has been cancelled. The Hawk doesn't have the ulti either. They're going to go for Clockwork first. He's going to be bursted down. Surprisingly enough, notice in the high ground, actually really strong. They can't kill him.
He's a Dragon Ward.
He's a Dragon Ward.
He's with the Winter Wyvern. Kill the Winter Wyvern. That's a DK.
Yeah, it's true. Also, it does not look like a DK.
No, it looks exactly like Winter Wyvern.
Yep.
Suppose he flaps his wings a little bit faster than she does, but still.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I mean, it looks like level 3 Dragon as well. There's a whole thing, you know, glance value, haha.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
As I was mentioning, Lelis was telling me that it's not so much about like how many resources you spend on a single kill, but what you do afterwards with that kill, with those resources. And I think this play was correct by BB, right? They went triangle, take stacks, threaten the enemy team's farm. Even if they only get supports for this, and they utilize a lot of time, they do take map control with it, which is nice.
And I have to wonder if this build for Tiny is the correct one, because he's not going to get this Moon Shard at minute 15, and he's not, I mean, maybe he's saving for Shard instead. I'm not sure. I don't know what exactly you deviate into, at what point you call it. But, you know, like a regular quote-unquote carry Tiny build would be Echo Saber and then Shard immediately at 15. I don't think, maybe he's got equal farm. But
I mean, you could just go for Shard here and then still use it with a one Hyperstone. It's fine. Like, I mean, Tiny is not fast no matter what you do with a hero.
That's true.
So
that's a good point.
I feel like this is one of those points where it's like he's just trying to maximize his farm here. And if he thinks it's Moon Shard, I honestly would not be able to know. If he thinks it's Moon Shard, fair enough. I'm gonna take the tower down top as well. This is what the, of course, another blast. Look, he actually only took 3 points. He's like, all right, that's enough. 3 points is the right amount. Now I'm going to go into Nether Ward build. I like this. This makes your team fight much stronger, obviously, for BB, and this allows you to actually threaten the points that you've taken, right? Before, the enemy team can just swap jungles, they can play away from you, and you can't fight them unless you're on even ground. But now you can actually force fights a bit more aggressively. A Storm zips in. That's an aggressive zip as well. So Neko, there's another ward set up. Doesn't have enough mana for the life drain. Tokyo is forced to retreat as Collapse stays here, getting the kill. Does not have Dark Ascension here, but he's able to get away for now. Clockwork might be the sacrificial lamb of this engagement as Miposhka dies 5 for 5. Kind of even.
Yep, kind of even, especially because, well, you know, both mid laners getting involved there, but you do force back Boom Bet, which I think is a pretty big win, right? This is a team that would like to be hitting and damaging your structures, and you force them back all the way into their jungle for the second time this match. We'll see here, as Lola says, as you say, what they can get out of it, however.
Elder Dragon form,
yes. Elder Dragon form is ready. Reaper Scythe is also ready. So BB have their fighting spells ready. It's just a matter of if they can find a jump or if they want to force it. Right now, they're making a play for Toronto Tokyo, top lane. Here they go. Ooh. Noticed stunned it. Oh, no, he just, the projectile was in the air and Toronto Tokyo zipped away. Pardon me.
And you know what the problem is there, actually? The Dragon form before you jump, usually a good thing because you get more range. Not against a Storm, though.
No.
It turns into a projectile. It's slower than the melee Dragon tail.
Maybe he thought he could get him because it was, I don't know, maybe he thought he had level 1 Ball Lightning, which is a lot slower,
it's still incredibly fast. Toronto Tokyo just has the superhuman reaction speed. Right,
he's
exactly.
a gamer.
Yeah, but like I would say even some pro Storms will get caught by that, right? So I don't think that... I don't think it was like a mistake. I'm just calling it out. That is one of those things to consider when you're jumping Toronto Tokyo for next initiation.
And just to put a pin in the Yadaro discussion, he did go for Moon Shard. It's complete, and his shard is going to be the Axe Shard, that is.
See? There, he got him. You can't always be guys. Toronto Tokyo will be safe by that hook, I think. They're like, all right, I'll kill you, Miposhka. But it's the last time, Miposhka, you get killed. I swear, if you try to kill yourself again, we'll let you go next time.
Yeah, Necro pushing very aggressively mid lane, and once again, Pugna defending against Collapse bottom. So BB, they're still getting farm all over the map while they get this kill as well. Again, TeamSpirit still went out there because they don't lose the Storm, but these small kills are going to start to add up, especially as BetBoom farm just, frankly, more of the map.
I do want to point out one thing that they're taking advantage of really nicely of the Nether Blast is that he's the dead laner now, so Neko, right? He's playing the dead lane solo. He's kind of covering all the push for the team. The Hawk. Okay.
He's alone.
Yeah, he is, and he's going to probably die despite the Hood of Defiance. The Silence is too strong. That was odd.
Yeah, so all those things I said about BB farming all over the map, I think TeamSpirit also did the math, and they said, wait a second, there can't be anyone behind that Necro. He's completely alone, and they just kill him. It's that easy.
You gotta respect the second Knight for Night Stalker, and he's gonna go for another kill here. Force Major is the target. Also, love the Collapse build. Once again, this guy deviates for the right situations. No Echo Saber that we usually see directly into BKB. He understands he wants to be useful immediately. We will see Echo Saber later, which is fine, but he's not gonna even go for like the Echo Saber disassemble thing. He knows he needs to be impactful now, and he's used a good... Like, this second Knight has been good for him. In fact, he's going to find Pugna as well with a hook shot. Nice kill.
BB cannot afford to keep hemorrhaging like this. Because they're not going to be able to defend. They need to kind of get this under control a bit more. It's just a Pugna, right? And it's just a Grimstroke after the carry kill, but they need their full team online to be able to make plays. One Dark Ascension picking up 3 kills is fantastic for Collapse, but not so good for BB. And yeah, I do really like his build. Again, small change, but because I imagine we have a couple of fans tuning in that maybe haven't watched a lot of Dota recently. Hey, thanks for stopping by. But also, of course, Edict has changed from magic to pure damage a while ago. So that will still hit.
Physical.
What?
From physical,
yes, thank you. Which always went through BKB, actually. But I'm not sure if it does more or less damage now to someone who's magic immune than before, but...
I mean, it won't matter, right? It's more about the armor that they had. Noticed? Okay. He does get stopped. The Spirit Vessel. There's the build on call, so popular these days. The Solar Bind plus Spirit Vessel, it just amps it up so much and it tears through these strength cores. And it's going to tear through Necrophos too. Again, this second Knight was their timing. We talked about this in the draft. They're playing with it really well, and I think BP hasn't respected it enough. They have a much weaker early mid game because, again, Lesh is not Snapfire.
Nope, Lesh is not Snapfire. Lesh can get involved physically closer in fights earlier, but Snap just has simply stronger spells to enable different plays. Laurel on the Lesh, he's not really as much as a playmaker. Even with the Yule Scepter build, he can set up for himself, sure, but he doesn't have the same playmaking abilities as the Snapfire for sure. And I think we're seeing that play out as you're keen to point out.
There's a point to be made as well that when you look at all three of BetBoom scores, you have kind of similar cores, right? They're all like jump in, tank, give vision, and deal progressive damage. At least, well, for the case of Lesh and Necrophos, very much so. But even DK, with the way he's played with the Shard, is also a lot of progressive damage, right? So, that's one of the issues that if TSpirit just kind of kites them, and they know how to play against this, it's difficult for them to get these quick kills. Interesting Roche choice. Oh, they smoke inside Roche.
Maybe it's a bait? They did deward. They dewarded properly, and I think Spirit saw them go into the pit.
There we go. All right. The Night Stalker is the target first, but Grimstroke in trouble with the backlines. They do get the double Reaper Scythe, but it only kills Clockwork here. And Night Stalker, look at that BKB go for Collapse. He's just chasing down Laurel. Laurel activates his own BKB. He'll be able to survive. Collapse almost dying to the Necrophos there, who is still full HP. There's no Reaper Scythe, but the Hawk is kind of unkillable. Activates his own BKB. Instead, they go for Laurel. They're going to kite them. They know how to play these fights. Toronto Tokyo, they hit him with a Shard, but that's not going to be sufficient. As the Hawk, he's been slowed down by the Solar Bind, the Spirit Vessel on top of that Collapse, keeping his distance, not wanting to get hit by those pesky death pulses. He still has the Void, will slow on the Hawk. There, they silence him, and that's going to be enough to kill off.
And Collapse doesn't die!
Collapse played it so well.
He was the original target, and he lives the entire time. That's a beautiful Night Stalker fight. That's exactly what you want to be doing on Night Stalker is barely getting out of the fight with like 0 HP. I mean, kind of every offlaner's dream, but constantly making these big plays, these little stuns at nighttime. The silences, of course, doing huge amounts of damage. Toronto Tokyo just didn't care about life drain either. I think maybe some Storms would have taken down the Pugna first because 1, he's an easier kill, and 2, he's the sustain, but he just did the math. He knew he could get right through that Pugna. And speaking of Pugna, who has been a little bit of an issue perhaps with the Decrepify, that's not going to last much longer. After that fight, Collapse almost has the money already for the full Nullifier.
Love this guy's builds, dude. Like, love Collapse's builds. Even last game, I thought it was pretty good as well on the CK. He's playing so well.
And now another fight.
Oh, noticed. Okay, Niposhka just goes in. They want to go for Soneko first. And the ward has been dropped, though. But that's Spirit Vessel. I mean, notice just cannot heal. And the Titan is just whacking him to deth.
Yeah,
nice
here's Yatoro.
Well. Goodbye, Soneko. That's the strength of the Moonshard BKB, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Hawk. Okay, he still wants to fight this apparently, but no DK, no Pugna. In fact, the cogs are well placed. He can't retreat the way he wanted to go. Inkswell will stun Yatoro, but I think the damage is too high. He's going to go down. The Crippling Fear is perfect. Lara also going to die here. Yule Scepter only buying some time, but the inevitable is going to happen.
Yeah.
TSpirit, this time they are crashing them because...
Oh, yeah.
They know what the weakest in BP is. Like I said, the 3 cores do the same thing, and they know how to do it. They just kite them around. They play against the Pugna, and then playing this perfectly. It feels like now they're playing, like their eyes have adjusted to the speed of BB's lineup, and now they know how to play against fast drafts.
Yeah, and they've got the items they need. Tiny, that's the first fight he shows up in, immediately rewarded with 2 kills and a couple of assists, I'd imagine. BB, they buy back on the DK in that fight. He does nothing but farm a few side camps. Now his BKB is going to be further delayed. He was actually pretty close to it, I imagine, before the buyback. Yeah, spent about 700 gold, so he would have been about 1,400 away. Were it not for the buyback, he gets nothing from that. These BKB timings for TSpirit have been absolutely huge for them. Right, Toronto Tokyo on that fight frees him up to once again just stay on top of the Lesh. Lesh doesn't do enough damage. Same thing with the Night Stalker. Now he's got, after that fight, the full Nullifier online, so you could basically just ignore Pugna.
And Necro.
It's great.
And Necro is screwed with that, honestly.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a great point. Completely forgot. There's 2 heroes that can decrep.
Yep, so that's why Nullifier is actually such a quick pickup for him. And it's difficult for BB because they don't, like... Last time they won the early game and the mid game and they did really well, and then the late game they just kind of recovered. This time it's a bit different because they're not winning the early mid game. They never got that power spike and to utilize it. So we'll see.
Go again.
Yeah, they're going to just kill Pugna early. No chance for him. They also find the Grimstroke. Let's
Great
see what
hook
happens.
shot. They're on to Hawk.
Hook shot. Oh,
BKB
the Hawk once again. Those cogs pretty well placed, but he does manage to go through the trees. By the way, these cogs in Poshka are insane this game. Necrophos literally cannot walk through the fight because he's constantly being stopped by these annoying cogs.
Yeah. And actually, you know, the one counterplay that you have available to yourself, the one spell that makes you incredibly annoying, now that they have a Nullifier anyway, it's not as annoying. But when you go Ethereal form, you can't attack, can't break the cogs.
True. Yeah. And honestly, they don't have anyone with good attack speed either, so nobody can really help them with the cogs.
No, very good point, actually. Yeah.
You never think about this, right? Because it's more of the Tombstone that we talk about, of the Phoenix Egg that you need attack speed for, but these cogs actually such a nuisance for them because of the great placements.
And as a result, I mean, naturally, if you don't have great attackers or great attack speed, you got no physical damage. That means BKBs are probably going to wreck you.
Yeah, they
Which
are, actually.
Obviously we have been seeing now with TSpirit pulling out, what, I don't know, 10 kills in the past couple of minutes, and now a 13k net horde lead. This is interesting.
They're not taking the sitting down. They go for the Reaper Scythe immediately, and the Decrep will amplify this. Well done. I like this as well. This means that their spirit has not been broken whatsoever. They know that this draft is not going as they expected, but they still can make plays. There's still chances.
Yeah, big pick off there. I'm surprised that Spirit didn't find the D ward. I guess that was a fresh ward there on the Roche Cliff, pardon me. So BB just taking advantage of it. I hear BKB, though, and a long-range zip, and that's Toronto Tokyo, who is BKB'd up here to find the kill only for Force Major. So he's going to TP out from this fight. There is no Dark Ascension. And actually, BetBoom, pardon me, are going to turn back to the Roche, but again, this is still pretty slow. So Tiny's still dead for 45, no buyback. But Toronto Tokyo's refilled his mana. I believe he's even been... No, he's not been recalled. Scuttle doesn't have Shard yet. The Night Stalker gonna have his ulti in 25 seconds. Toronto Tokyo's just in. Look at the damage! He's gotten the kill onto Laurel, deleted.
That's just the ball. Oh, he hit Arcane Rune. I was wondering what happened there. The Arcane Rune allowed him to ball lightning out of control. Collapse. Starts the BKB. First the Nullifier, silencing the Hawk. I don't know if Nullifier plus silence at the same time is a great use of him, but it's okay. So Nick will die.
Yes, he will. And now your Tiny's back alive, and you've basically, once again, stabilized from that unexpected Tiny kill.
This Roche must be so confused. Like, these guys keep coming in, and they just don't finish me off.
Yeah.
What's happening?
They've given him more than a tickle this time at the very least, but it did involve a lot of the resources there for BB. Like they used Elder Dragon Form for that. They were constantly popping edicts. I mean, they end up, of course, still losing their mid laner. Yeah, it's becoming problematic for BB. I mean, I just think they needed to be the ones with a 12k net worth lead this early, but I still find it so hard for you to do that when your pickoff lineup, it's decent, right? It's not bad, I would say, but it relies purely on magic damage. Like, BKBs come up, and what do? As here goes Collapse. He's completely alone, by the way. He's just going for it. And no, what do? He's got BKB still to go.
Exactly. They know that. And they also caught Necro with Electric Vortex, but they decided to go for it. In fact, Collapse decides, you know what? Yeah. Nullifier's good for Noticed as well. If it's good for support, it's good for you Dragon Knight.
Yeah, and he's like, what are you going to do, Laurel? You're going to stun me? No, you're not. I've got BKB.
He just used it, so not anymore. But he did, now the silence gone, yeah, you have to be careful. Taran Tokyo, though, as per usual, he's going to be the leading man, and he's like, you know what? Time to leave. He did go for the ultimate null build again. So, okay, apparently Storm is Tinker these days, and this is the best build for it, no matter the game. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's so funny to see. We are past 25 minutes, so these stats do double, of course. Oh, there's another jump in.
He had BKB this time. Okay, so he's going to be fine.
Yeah, they just don't have enough damage, though.
I will say, I've seen this build before, right? It's not like it doesn't surprise me, but I didn't think this was the build for every single game on Storm.
Again, what's really funny to me is that he's actually backpacking both his BKB and his Witchblade when he decides when he decides it's time, I suppose, to use the 5th Null Talisman.
Yeah, this is the ultimate. This is the ultimate version.
Another arcane.
Another arcane. That's not fair.
That might be the nail in the coffin here for BB. I don't think they're expecting another Storm. I mean, what is this mana reduction going to be even?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Honestly, like, I mean, did you see the previous zip that was from like Roche to the base, just with the Arcane Rune? Is ridiculous. I need to fix these things, honestly. I don't want to see Storm being able to do that.
Yeah, no, he's only going with 3 Null Talismans, for now anyway. And then
it's like a loadout before you spawn like Call of Duty or something. Like, I think I'm gonna go for 3 Null Talismans for this game. I feel this is a good one.
16, 24. So it's gonna be 32 with the 4th Null Talisman popped in plus the Arcane effect. I don't know what that is off the top of my head.
No, I don't know. I don't off the top of my head. He also has. He's gonna go for Lincoln, so it's again the BCM build that we talked about.
Yep. I don't remember if he went Lincoln's last game. I know for sure that Yadaro did. I don't recall if
No, he decided not to towards the end. He went for Scythe instead, remember?
Oh, that's right.
He turned that Ultimate Orb into Scythe, yeah.
I knew someone had a Lincoln's, and I was pretty sure it was Yadaro, but I didn't know if there was 2.
Which is wild, by the way, because if he had Lincoln's, he probably would have been saved with a Hex, right? But
that's a fair point.
Hindsight 2020, right?
Yeah.
I think it's pointless to say that.
Yeah, hindsight is 2020. Hard to say, right? Notice still doesn't have this BKB. That, again, he would have had it by now. But the buyback during the Roche fight is going to delay it. And now that's the last of your outer towers. Yadaro, completely alone, might add, is probably going to be recalled here shortly by the Coddle, but decides to push one more wave before he backs up.
Yeah. I mean, DK, he's one of those heroes that, like, honestly, he rarely falls off because of how useful he is always in the early game. You can always get pickoffs. He's a good pusher. But if he falls off hard because you need the shard, you need the BKB, and it's like it's 30 minutes, and you still don't have the shard.
Yeah, he doesn't have the shard. That's a good spot. I actually failed to notice that. And he's in a rough spot. And I have to commend Spirit here, right? They're down a game. They were perhaps noticing, hey, guys, we need to just collect ourselves here and hit the reset button.
Whoa.
They're playing...
Did
he get into the fountain?
Yeah.
Did we catch... That was madness.
He almost killed Laurel off ball lighting alone.
That was...
He's having fun, though. He's having a lot of fun Toronto this game. You see what he's doing? He's even getting a clarity from the base and just continuing to ball lighting around. He's just...
This is funny. This is amazing.
This is balance, guys. People complain about Tiny. Where's my Storm? Where's my Storm hate?
This used to be worse, by the way.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the patch.
Yeah.
This used to be worse.
They got nerfed a little bit.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was like remember when Magnus Eggs was the thing? The old one with Skewer?
Oh my god, that was hell. Yeah.
By the way, to finish my point off here, because BB are, I think, going for the PZLA move of last resort as they are desperate to try and find a fight on their terms. Spirit they're playing so clean. This is first Aegis. Yes, they probably recognize they have a significant net worth lead, but they're down a game. They need to reset. They're playing it clinically here. There's the jump. Toronto Tokyo, though, he's too speedy. BKB is going to get off, and Toronto Tokyo just zipping around the fights. Now hook shot from behind is going to prevent the retreat. DeHawk trapped inside, broken now by Yadaro, who gets the BKB off there, at least safe from DeHawk, but he's dying to the physical damage as the jump forward here. The sustain from the life drain is good enough to keep him topped up for now, but it's going to end as Collapse finally is going to draw first blood in this occasion for Spirit. Blinding Light's good against DeHawk, now stunned up and killed easily as Collapse all over them. Toronto Tokyo as well for a bit of damage. Finally, BKB ending here. They finally managed to land a stun onto him, but Yadaro straight now onto Laurel, who's lucky to get out of here alive. Notice, not as lucky, killed off, and DeHawk, who has popped back, is immediately going to die back. They call the GG. TeamSpirit find the opening they need with this first Aegis and end the game. We're going to a game 3.
Yeah, well played, TeamSpirit. It feels like, again, they just adjusted themselves for what a fast draft is like. They also took away the MP. This like fast tempo draft of BB was much weaker. It was, I think that's why maybe they deviated the Pugna into push as well. They couldn't really take early team fights as well. Their push was also much more lackluster. It just didn't feel that strong, right? I think the draft was still pretty good, but you had to execute really cleanly. And I mean, it sounds crazy, but that kill in the mid lane against the Hawk, I think that was actually the catalyst that lost them the game. That like weird thing where he was just walking mid, he just kind of committed suicide. That was kind of the catalyst, and from then on, TSpirit just took over the game. They didn't really respect the second Knight as well for BB. I think they should keep that in mind if they want to play this draft again, because Night Stalker, I know he's out of meta, but that doesn't mean he's not a hero anymore, right?
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something there, because I think, especially with DK super heavily like prioritizing the blink and then immediately going into BKB, basically, that was
no push.
Yeah, I think instead of Shard, right? No push, no plan B. I think BetBoom kind of realized, oh god, we have literally no physical damage, and we need to make as much space as we can before these BKBs come online. And when it's that tight of a strategy, you know, when your Pugna is maxing Nether Blast or 3 points and the Nether Blast early, when every other Pugna in the game is going for the Nether Ward maxed, it means you can't afford to make those kinds of mistakes. I have to agree with you. I think that was huge. They used that downtime Spirit to reset the map. They farmed double BKB reveal. A Tiny comes in with his own BKB against triple BKBs. BetBoom just couldn't take any fight after that. It was impossible.
Yep. And with this, TSpirit takes the victory. We didn't say at the beginning of the best of 3 that it was likely that BB would take one game, though we were pretty doubtful that BB could take this 2-0 or 2-1. It's tough for them, but they still have one last chance. We'll see what they come up with this last game, because there's still a couple of cheese left in this wonderful Fromagier, the Hawks inventory, and we'll see what he decides to go for in this last game, and if TSpirit has finally adjusted and broken BB. As we take a small break, and we'll come back with the last game between BB and TSpirit.